Right now at 5:30, an unprecedented move today by Wake County election officials canvassing votes. They've decided to count the ballots of 3 dead people. Thank you for joining us. I'm Dan Haggerty.
And I'm Ashley Rowe. Those people cast their votes early, but then they died before Election Day. 42 other ballots cast by voters who are now dead will not be counted. This was all decided as election officials were finalizing Wake County's vote tallies.
WRAL Capitol Bureau Chief Laura Leslie live at the County Board of Elections. And Laura, this could be a violation of North Carolina election rules. It's a confusing story.
Those rules come from long ago, Dan, back in the day when unscrupulous party hacks used to cast ballots illegally under the names of people who had already died. That's where the practice of removing the ballots of people who die before Election Day comes from. But these days, that kind of voter fraud is much harder to do, and a lot more people are voting earlier now. So what that means is that there's a lot of votes being removed that were legally cast by people before Election Day, before they passed away. Families of 3 of those voters today told election officials how much those votes meant to their loved ones. And now for the first time, a local elections board says it's time for the law to change. North Carolina statute doesn't specifically say what should be done with the ballots of voters who early vote but then die before Election Day. State elections officials advise local boards to remove those ballots if they're challenged, and case law supports that practice. So it wasn't a surprise that the Wake County Board of Elections voted to remove the ballots of 42 deceased voters. It was a surprise when they voted to keep 3 others after grieving family members asked them to. Republican member Keith Weatherly voted against that. He said the board took an oath to uphold state law, and people who feel like they can't do that shouldn't be serving on the board. That led to a tense moment with Chairwoman Erica Porter.
To insinuate that I should not be on this board is very hurtful.
To break the law is what I say.
To insinuate that I should not be on this board is very hurtful. And we can move on to the next.
After that exchange, Weatherly defended his position.
How do you decide which laws you're going to follow and which laws you're going to not follow, violate?
I feel like it's doing the right thing, and that's what I'm here to do.
Porter said the board has discretion in a lot of areas, and she believes this is one. She agrees with family members that removing ballots is unfair to those voters.
They were legal to cast their ballot. These aren't folks who came up in our felony registry. These are not people who came up as non-citizens. These are folks who did everything that we asked them to do, and they completed their challenge. And the only thing they did wrong was they passed away.
Now, a decade ago, State House lawmakers unanimously passed a bill that would have done away with this law and allowed those ballots to stand. But the state Senate never agreed to take up that law. Porter said she's ready to work with state lawmakers next year to try it again. Laura Leslie, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.